Hi guys and welcome back to a new video. In today's video, I will explain what you should do during the first few days of the War Within in order to be as efficient as possible and also in order to have the best experience possible. So here I will be talking about many different things, from treasures you should pick, from rares you should kill and systems you should unlock, and also I will try to each time explain how you can make a lot of gold by doing all these different things. Here, I'm not really going to make the distinction between early access and normal release because most of the things I'm going to talk about in today's video are valid for both situations. So just keep that in mind. Okay, so the first thing I would really recommend you to do is to simply go through the entire storyline on your main character in order to unlock all the different factions. Why you want to unlock these different factions is because with each of these factions, you will have different renowns and some very interesting items, systems, and other rewards will be locked behind these different renowns. And so if you want to enjoy all these different things on all your different characters, you need to unlock the factions and also to reach certain renowns with each of them. So by doing the main storyline, as you can see, you will be at renown 4 or 3 on all these different factions. And one very important thing to remember is that once it's unlocked on your main character, it will also be unlocked on all your different alts. So something super important to do. Now, in terms of a few examples, let's say for instance, you're planning to make some gold with crafting. You will have some specific recipes that will be locked behind specific renowns. And so here, if on my main character, I've unlocked this, then on all your other characters and all your other alts, you will be able to go and buy these different plants and recipes in order to start crafting these different items without having to do anything more than what you've done on your main character. Same with some very interesting systems, such as for instance the Snuffling that is linked to the assembly of the dips. Here you will be able to then unlock it for all your different alts, which is going to be again super useful. Now, next to that, I would also recommend you to try and reach level 80 as soon as you can on your main character, because once you've done that, you will be able to unlock a new system that will allow you to choose how you want to level up your different alts. So you won't have to go through each of the zones and do the main storyline again. You will be able to choose which zone you want to go to level up in, and also the way you want to level up. You will have all the different world quests, this type of things, and so you will really be able to choose how you want to level up these alts, which in my opinion is really nice. Now, another interesting thing you can do is really during the first few hours, pick up this free 34 slot bag that is called the Goblin mini fridge. So in order to get this item, it's going to be very simple. All you want to do is go in the Dornogal city, which is the main city, and you want to take the pathway in order to go to the ringing tips. When you are in the ringing tips, you want to go in this specific location right there, and you want to enter this little house. When you are in the house, you will be able to interact with this vending machine, and here you want to click on all the different buttons. You will be able to spend some silvers in order to buy different type of drinks. And normally after maybe purchasing 30-40 of the drinks, you will be able to pick up a little treasure, and inside the treasure, you will be able to get this 34 slot bag. So this is something that is, in my opinion, really nice to do because you will be able to get this bag for free. You can do it on all your different alts. And remember that in the War Within, we will be able to craft 36 slot bags with tailoring, and then you will be able to buy them on the auction house. But of course, during the first few days and first few weeks, these different bags are going to be pretty expensive. And so while waiting, you can always get this bag for free, which is already super good. One thing to remember is that you can't sell this bag on the auction house, so you will have to use it. And again, this is something you can do on all your different alts. Another important thing to do, especially if you're not a big fan of skywriting, is to try and after you've completed the main storyline on your main character, to explore all the different zones, because like that you will be able to unlock the War Within Pathfinder achievement and to unlock steady flying. Again, for many different reasons, steady flying might be sometimes more useful than skywriting. And so if you are trying to use it more than skywriting, try to do that as soon as you can. Normally, again, you can do that during the first day in the new patch. Also, if you are planning to use the different flight master, you can try to unlock this achievement right here. And as you can see, you will only have to go and talk to all the different flight masters in all the different zones in Kazalgar. And when doing so, you will be able to unlock these that will increase by 25% the flight path travel speed in Kazalgar, something that, in my opinion, is very useful as well. Now, as I already mentioned, renowns and factions are going to be very important in this new expansion. And so one thing I would recommend you to do on your character is to kill all the different rares in all the different zones, because each time you kill a rare, you will be able to get 150 points for each of the different factions. So for instance, if you're in the Isle of Dorn, you will be able to kill a rare and get 150 points for the Council of Dornogal. And same when you're in the Ringing Deeps, and each time you have one specific faction that is linked to each of the rares that you kill. So this is really an easy way to get some additional reputation points, and it will help you to unlock some of these other renown levels that again can be sometimes very, very important for you and for some of your alts. One thing that you need to remember is that sadly you won't be able to kill them then again on some of your alts and get the reputation points. You will only be able to get, for instance, some of the currency and some of the loot, but the reputation points are a one-time thing per account. So if you are planning to farm them again and again on your alts, there's no point because these different things won't be there. And of course, next to the rares, you have all the different treasures in all the different zones that will also reward you each time with some reputation points. So really try to get all the treasures you see on your minimap as well, because most of the time you will be able to increase even more your reputations and unlock new renowns by doing that. Also here, I would really recommend you to pick up this ring on your alts, especially if they don't have a lot of good gear, because even though this is only a ring with an eye level 518, as you can see, sometimes you will be able to deal some fire damage to your target, and it will be 100,000 damage, which is really good. And this is something you can pick up at level 73 on all your different alts, so definitely a super, super useful ring that will help you level up a little bit faster. And this is something I've had in the beta since I've started leveling up, and it has been extremely, extremely useful. So I would recommend you to pick up this Lava Forge cogwheel as soon as you can. Now, if you are planning to gear up your characters and to get some pretty good items, you should definitely start doing all the different delves, because even though the really good loot will only be unlocked after the start of season 1, you will still be able to do these different delves with a difficulty level of 1 to 3, and you will still be able to get some pretty good pieces of gear. So definitely something worth doing. And also this is a new system, something completely new, so probably you will have a lot of fun doing it. And so for that specific reason, I would recommend you to start enjoying the delves as soon as you can. Now, if you want to make some gold, there are definitely a few things that I would recommend you to do. The first thing, and this is something that even if you're not a big gold maker, I would recommend you to consider doing, is simply trying as soon as you can to sell all the new items you get from doing quests, activities, killing rares, and things like that. So for instance, all the new materials are things you will be able to sell for a lot of gold during the first few days. Same with some of the green BOEs and these type of items. When you will probably be in 1 or 2 weeks after the release, some of these items will already be a little bit cheaper. And so if you want to make the most profit possible with these different items, just try and sell them at the auction house as soon as you can. So if you have, for instance, the Brutosaur mount, of course, maybe every hour, just go on the auction house and post everything and hopefully they will sell. And if you don't, you can always come back to Dornogal, and here you will be able to go and post all these different items on the auction house there. So this is really something that normally shouldn't take you too long. It will also help you to empty your bags often, and like that, hopefully you will be able to make a lot of gold without really doing anything. Now there's also this category of items right here, all the different Darkmoon cards. So you will be able to get some of these items even if you don't have inscription by simply killing different creatures and opening sometimes different type of things. And these different cards are then used to craft these items right here, the different Darkmoon decks. And as you can see, these different Darkmoon decks are trinkets and they're BOE, so it means you can sell them on the auction house. And the one thing that is interesting is that you need to be level 70 in order to use them. So what it means is that probably when everyone will start playing and they will especially start gearing up and everything on their level 70 character, a lot of people are going to buy them in order to start and be the most powerful and efficient possible. And so probably during the first few days and first few weeks, you will be able to sell them for a lot of gold. So what you can do is, of course, simply sell these different cards on the auction house if you want. They will still sell for quite a lot of gold. Or you can also wait to get an entire set of cards. And so here, as you can see, you need to get the ace through the 8 in order to then combine them into one deck. And then you can sell the deck on the auction house. The last thing you can do also is, let's say, for instance, you're in the same situation as me and you're missing one or two cards. You can go on the auction house, buy them, and then combine into a deck and sell the deck on the auction house. So just something important to remember, and I'm sure you will be able to make some gold with all these different items. Now, if you really want to make a lot of gold during the first few days, I would recommend you to have one character with dual gathering, especially herbalism and mining, simply because these different materials are always in high demand and very expensive during the first few weeks of a new expansion. And after maybe a month, most likely these different items are going to be way cheaper, especially because they are region wide. So if you want to make a lot of profit with these, just pick up gathering, especially as I already mentioned, herbalism and mining, in my opinion, are the best. Just go around all the different zones, get all the different herbs, ores, and everything you can, and sell them as quickly as possible. And hopefully you will be able to make tons of gold like that. So this is really something I would recommend you to do if your plan is to make a lot of gold. Also, if you are combining it with Snuffling, this is one of the new systems you will be able to unlock with the assembly of the dips when reaching Renon 2. As you can see, you will be able to find these different pile of wax a little bit everywhere, and when you're opening them, you will either be able to pick up directly all the different items from the pile of wax, or to kill an enemy that will drop all these items, and each time you will get tons of different materials from all the different professions. So if you are adding that to dual gathering, most likely you will be able to really make a lot of gold. And this is something I would encourage you to do if, again, you are trying to be as efficient as possible during the first few days. Now, if you are trying to make some gold with crafting professions, one of the first things you should do is really go and try to understand how you can unlock some of the best recipes, plants, and how to craft some of the best items. So here again, you can always go there in your catalog and you can see exactly how you can learn these different recipes and plants. And then you should start working on unlocking them. So for instance, with the different factions and the renowns here, if you want to craft some of these items, such as the Stormmoon Armor Kit, Ancient Chest, Console Intellects, and Contract Console of Dornogal, you will need to reach Renon 5 with the Console of Dornogal. So these type of things, you need to know a little bit how to unlock them and then start crafting them as soon as possible, because these items are usually pretty profitable early on. But again, after 1 month or two, they won't be really profitable anymore. And so that's why you want to be amongst the first few people, especially on your realm, to craft all these different items. And here I would really recommend you to use your Warband bank in order to also craft a bunch of these items, put everything in your bank, and then sell them across all the different realms in the region, because like that you will maximize the profit you will make with all these different crafts. Also, if you are planning to use more than one character in order to make some gold, you should bring all your different alts to Dornogal, and here you should learn all the new professions with Kazalgar, and you should start crafting all the different items that you need. Let's say, for instance, you're trying to make some gold with the daily cooldowns from tailoring and alchemy. You should start doing that as soon as possible. And also, by having them in Dornogal, you will already have some rested XP on these characters, and so if at some point you're trying to level them up, you will be able to then do that even more easily. Also, on all your different alts, you should directly do this first quest that will be available in Dornogal from the Artisans Consortium. And as you can see, it will directly give you a lot of the different Artisans Acuity, which are some items that will be extremely important in order to do a lot of crafts. These are basically the same as the Artisans Metal in Dragonflight, and so by doing that, you will be able to get tons of them on each of your alts, and so definitely something you want to do as soon as you can. Another important thing to do on your different characters that have professions is also to start picking up all the different profession treasures in order to get a lot of knowledge points. So here I will make a series of videos where I will highlight exactly where you can find all these different treasures, and like that, hopefully you will be able to get tons of them very easily. And again, for those of you who are not really familiar with these treasures, it's basically just little treasures you can pick up, and then when learning them, you will be able each time to get 3 knowledge points for each of the different professions. Similar to what happened in Dragonflight, also some of the different plants and recipes will be locked behind specific sources. So for instance, sometimes it's from specific events, from rare mobs and everything, and some of them are going to be pretty difficult to get. So what I would recommend you is also start simply farming for some of them if you can, in order possibly to at some point make a lot of gold when you finally get them by either selling them on the auction house, because most of these plants and recipes will be BOEs, or by crafting the different items that you will be able to get from the recipe. In terms of crafting, also the last thing I will mention is that you will have a lot of things from PvP, and here it's even more interesting than in Dragonflight in my opinion, because with honor points you will be able to directly buy all the different plants and recipes that will be BOEs, so you will be able to then sell them on the auction house for a lot of gold, or also to learn them and start crafting these different base items and sell them on the auction house as well. And you will also be able to buy and sell on the auction house some of the different materials that will be needed in order to craft all the different PvP gear. And so by simply doing some PvP early on, you will most likely be able to make a lot of gold by then selling all these different items on the auction house. So just something also to keep in mind, especially if you're trying to get some of the nice loots from PvP. And another thing that I would recommend you to do early on in the game is doing all the 2x4 farms or any other group farms that you will be able to do in all the different zones. So here, all you have to do is to go in custom, find a group and just type farm. And here you will probably find a lot of different groups. And usually these different farms are used in order to farm different materials, different items, and different type of things in general. And this is the most efficient way possible to do it. And so if you find some really good groups with some really good spots, this is something that will basically be super efficient at the beginning. And most of the time, these different farms are then nerfed and not as efficient anymore. So you need to be within the first few hours doing that. Otherwise, it won't be super useful. But people always find new spots and new farms to do. So hopefully you will be able to also make some gold with these. So that's pretty much it for today's video. Again, I'm sure there's plenty of other things I could have mentioned in today's video, but these are really the main points I wanted to bring to your attention. Keep in mind, of course, that this is a game, so you don't have to follow everything. It's really only if you want to be a little more efficient and also to start a little more easily the game. But again, you don't have to follow all these different things. These are really just recommendations that I wanted to share with you. I will be back very soon with more guides and more videos, and in the meantime, I wish you all a great day. Bye!